Hi everyone, I'm Edward and welcome to Yahoo TV's New Things on the Block. Our new thing this week is something that's been around for a really long time. It's the stock market and your investments. Okay, look, lots of people have been worried about their money and really it's a mess out there right now. But to help us make sense of it, we have an expert. Ms. So Ting is the Chief Client Officer from Endowus, a financial technology company that looks to empower people to take control of their financial future. She spent over a decade in the wealth management industry, working with such big names in Hong Kong and Singapore like Morgan Stanley and Nomura, and we're really glad that she's here with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
Okay, Ting, so lots of us out there looking at our stock portfolios, massive losses. Should we just sell and cut our losses now? It's kind of scary.
I mean, it's a painful time for my own portfolio. So, I completely understand the sentiment behind that. And we can't really downplay the recent declines we've seen and the anxiety that comes with it. But I think before you cut losses, there's a few questions that you should ask yourself. Have your personal circumstances changed in a material way that would warrant this change in your portfolio? And do you need the money that you've invested in the short term? If the answers to those questions are no, then you should also take a closer look to see what's exactly in your portfolio and whether your investments are diversified and durable enough to withstand some of the market volatility we're still going to see. We don't know when this market is going to bottom and when it's going to rebound. But what we do know is that the markets will be higher 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and we're invested for the long term.
So you did mention that it's likely for markets to trend up in the long term, 5, 10, 15 years from now. So some of you watching are probably thinking, is this a good time? Things look really cheap. How much should I invest right now if I've never invested before?
I think if you've never invested before, you should first take a step back. So it's really important to be, well informed about, how you're using your hard-earned money. So you should first learn a little bit more about investing, and there's some great online resources out there. And we also publish a content site called Endowus Insights. And then make an investment plan, write down what your assets are, what your liabilities are, what your goals are, what your financial needs are, and how much risk you can take. And then you can decide on, how much stocks you want to invest in as a percentage of your whole portfolio. Then you can decide, what to put into that stock bucket. And, you don't have to invest all in one go, which can be very intimidating. You can start small and then just be very disciplined about investing over time. And don't feel pressured from your friends, for example, who tell you that stocks look very cheap right now, because cheap is relative. What's cheap can get cheaper, and it's more important actually to stick to your investment plan and think for the long term.
Cool. And actually, right now, I think lots of people might be curious about how the experts are managing their money. So, Ting, how are you managing your finances through this crisis period?
Sure. When I think about managing my own money, I think about my overall financial picture, and not just my own portfolio. I like to keep kind of at least 6 months worth of my expenses in my bank account. I know that it yields close to zero, but this is my emergency fund. And then for my investment portfolio, I put my core portfolio into Endowus, which forms the bulk of my investment portfolio. And right now I'm invested in a 60% stocks, 40% bond portfolio. And the rest of my money is invested in private investments and obviously my own company as well. And I have been, slowly investing more over the last couple of weeks. And if the market continues to go down, I would look to put more money to work.
That's actually a bit counterintuitive to some people. They're like, wait, the market goes down and you're going to slowly buy more? How does that make sense?
Because I know that, over the long term, markets will trend higher. And at the current moment, I feel that human capital is actually my biggest asset, and I will still see more income coming in. I'll be investing more, and to be able to invest at these lower levels now is actually beneficial for me in the long term.
Wow, that sounds like a plan. Final question. So if someone has lost money now and they come to you and they say, okay, I'm never ever going to invest in anything again. I don't want to lose money anymore. What would you say to them?
I think if you don't want to lose money, it's very difficult to invest. I mean, if you want to make higher returns than your cash deposits, then you have to take some kind of risk. And I know the world looks, very, very bleak right now, and we don't know what the total cost of this coronavirus is right now. But I'm an optimist. I think the world will get through this crisis, just like how it's gone through other crises in the past. And even the last couple of weeks, we've seen so much scientific innovation and human resilience that's come out of this. And if you're like me and you think the human spirit will get through this, then you should be invested because you want to be exposed to long-term growth and innovation in the world.
Thank you so much, Ting. And thanks for joining us. We hope that was useful for you. So hang in there. We know that it looks really scary right now if you stare at your portfolio every day, but Ting and I were discussing earlier, don't keep staring at your portfolio. It won't help. It won't change anything. And it may not be so useful to be obsessively refreshing your social media feed as well. So folks, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, stay safe, and we'll see you again here soon on Yahoo TV's New Things on the Block.